If we rule for him, we are done. If we rule against him, they begin to see the rot in our center. Hello, this is Carrie O'Donnell from Tarot Soul Writer, and if you would like a personal reading with me, please go to my website, tarotsoulwriter.com, and I'd be happy to do a reading for you. I actually just opened up another month's worth of readings, so we are now booking in July and August. And don't forget, you can still sign up for my classes. I have spots in the month of June, so join our group. I'd be happy to have you. Today, I have done readings on the Supreme Court and questions that surround the Supreme Court. The first question is, when is Judge Clarence Thomas stepping down or retiring from the Supreme Court? So I did a soul writing session, and this is what I got. First, I get Clarence Thomas filled with ego. I heard numero uno.
Number 1.
Me, myself, and I. I also got that he actually is very smart. I heard too smart for his own good. I actually got that he was a master communicator and wrote he has strong language and communication skills. Because of his successes in the past, he has gotten away with things. And then his ego just grew more and more, and his perception that he is smarter than everyone else also grew. Others are beneath him. Believe it or not, if Clarence Thomas had taken a path of service and wanting to give back to society and to stay with the law and do what's right, he could have been a formidable force. He's a very smart man, believe it or not. But because of the path that he took, filled with ego, he just feels like he's the smartest man in the room. He's full of himself. His head is super large. I wrote, he gaslights, creates illusion, manipulates truth to serve private ends. And then I saw sleight of hand. So he has spent all this time with illusion and creating illusion, just like in The Wizard of Oz. Don't look at that man behind the curtain. Although in this case, I think he's more like the giant head. And then you have like the donors or the people who are pulling the levers behind the scenes. I wrote, his lies and duplicity are catching up to him. There is a divided loyalty here between what the Constitution says and what the law demands and what the donors want. And that gulf is getting larger and larger. I wrote, the gap between truth and lies grows into the Grand Canyon. I'm seeing designated areas suddenly for African Americans and whites, like a scene from the 1960s. And then I heard false friends. So to me, that was a metaphor of saying, even though he's sort of in a club or feels like he's one of the powerful, they still see him as separate from them because of his race, and they are not his friends, but he feels that they are. Deeper truths about Clarence will be revealed to the public, so there's even more corruption to come out. I get at the end of September to the beginning of October is a very critical time period for Clarence. Dishonor, I hear. I get him standing beside his wife. To me, I feel like something's going to go down more with his wife. I got his 1950s image of her. I heard mom and apple pie. And then I wrote, she is a symbol of what all women should be, he thinks. So these were like his inner thoughts. He really projects this idea of what a woman should be through his wife. It was very odd. Then I wrote, she is in trouble with the law. They are in trouble. I got riots and I heard call to arms. I feel like this has something to do with January 6th and her involvement with it and how he is connected to that. That's why it suddenly said they are in trouble. And I need to flee, he thinks. She follows like sheep toward an apocalyptic vision. That was an odd thing. It's like I just saw her just following blindly, like she was under some sort of force. And she was just moving to the apocalypse. I don't know if she believed that the apocalypse were coming. I don't know if she's part of that whole religious thing. But for some reason, she felt like she was the chosen ones and we were moving in this direction and she's part of something here. Then I got there is a possible arrest. Clarence Thomas then decides to leave because of general ill health. The men with the money decide this. He works for them. So in that last segment, I kind of feel that he's getting wind that his wife is going to be arrested, that they have something on his wife. That also connects to him. So there seems to be some agreement that if he steps down, they don't bother his wife. I do feel like there's going to be a deal struck here. And it's interesting that last segment, he doesn't decide that. They decide that. His donors, the people who have been feeding him funds and money, the people he thinks he's one of, like I'm one of you, but yet I see the division, African Americans here, white people here. So they don't see him as an equal because of his race. These same people are the ones that are pulling the strings. They make the call. They say, okay, Clarence, it's time to step down because there's too much heat on us. They make the call. I got a time period of within 2 years. I feel like he will step down, most likely right after Biden becomes president. Judge Kavanaugh. The question, when do you see Judge Kavanaugh being removed or stepping down from the Supreme Court? Now, Kavanaugh is similar but different. The first thing I get on Kavanaugh is that he was placed on the court through a manipulation of politics with money and power. So in that way, it's very similar. I got crass behavior, insensitive. That may be that type of behavior we witnessed right before he went onto the court. Then I got very specifically that he had a lot of money worries. Money just slips through my fingers, I heard. I'm overwhelmed. So there was something financial. He was just overwhelmed. It must be his debt. Then I got help steps in. I saw an image of the character Rumpelstiltskin. And then I got this quote from a book that my guides pointed to. He may give you the treasures of the earth, but always requires something in return. I believe Rumpelstiltskin said he would turn straw into gold, but in return, he wanted to take her firstborn or something to that effect. I can make something happen for you, but then you have to give me something. So there was definitely some sort of an agreement here. I got in the present that he was trying to change his behaviors, trying to change his character. But I was getting lust, desires, urges that overtake him. This does feel sexual in nature because after that, I got affairs. He may have been having affairs, allegedly, or this could have been his pattern with women in the past as well that he is trying to fight. Then I heard abortion, and I got women very angry. So this probably also connects to his behavior with women. His outcome, news leaks quickly about a financial partnership of foreign money. August is a critical month for Kavanaugh. He also may step down after the election. With him, it's not so much like with Thomas, it was more the January 6th thing that brings him down. I feel like his health, although not good, was his excuse, but not the reason. With Kavanaugh, they are going to trace some sort of foreign money or donation to him that may have wiped out his debt. That will be the reason he has to step down. Something is coming out about this in August. How will the Supreme Court rule on Trump immunity? Now, this should be pretty much a slam dunk. But apparently, for the court, it isn't. The first thing I saw was Roberts. I was a little surprised by that, but I got him demanding that the court, meaning the other justices, uphold the Constitution, stay with the law on this one. We have strict requirements here. There are limits. It's almost like Roberts is saying to them, hey, you know, I've kind of turned my head with some shenanigans. That may have happened. We may have twisted some things, but this is different. Okay, there are limits, and this is one of those moments. We can't rule that he has immunity. Can't happen. I get waiting and delays. I need to withdraw to contemplate the situation. We are refusing a gift, ignoring a relationship. So there may be some sort of payout or offer, or, hey, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. I don't know. There's some sort of offer here, but they're like, nope, we can't listen. We can't do this. We have to withdraw and really think about this. We can't just do business as usual. Then I get an interesting thing with the women on the court. Now, the first woman that I got, I think might be Ketanji Brown. Because I got a woman who was full of optimism and new ideas, and she was really inspirational. And there's something that she says as they deliberate and they talk things out that was very inspiring to the other justices. I wrote, a woman influences the court for the better. And then I got a picture of Amy Coney Barrett. Now, we would think that she would side with the other side, saying Trump has immunity. But I actually got that another woman surprisingly stands with her, meaning Justice Brown. So Barrett seems to be with the other three women, because I get women stand united. And then I hear some arguments behind the scenes. This is a trap, I hear. If we rule for him, we are done. If we rule against him, they begin to see the rot in our center. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If we give him immunity, we've just relinquished all our power. And that's it. We have no more power. But if we don't give him immunity, we're completely screwed politically. And now more investigations will continue, and they're going to start to see the connections. And I heard someone say, we need to delegate responsibility. We cannot rule. And then I heard, bury your head in the sand. No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to show it. Isn't that like the monkeys? Hear no evil, see no evil. Then I heard, bad luck for Trump. Karma. He has no defense here. The court sides with the lower court. I think that might be the delegating responsibility. It's just that there's no case here. I don't know how it would work because the Supreme Court already ruled to hear the case. So I'm assuming that they have to make a ruling. So I'm going to say, no, they don't give him immunity and they just rule with the lower court. Or they somehow make it seem like this ruling was correct or something to that effect. So you can see that there's a lot of inner turmoil with the court. And this is that one step too far. And I think it's the beginning of the downfall of the old Supreme Court, which leads to my last question. What's going to happen with the Supreme Court? I just took this in a general sense, asked my guides what's coming up with the Supreme Court as we move over the next couple years. And I heard, we need to rebuild. Then I saw that steeple from Notre Dame and that big fire that they had and the steeple falling down. I heard it was always there, but now it has burned. We must rebuild. So there is some metaphor with that. Just something that was always there and people would see it and respect it, and now it's gone. Now there was sadness with that fire. There was a sense of loss. And maybe that's something that we're all collectively going to feel with this court. Just a sense that it's fallen now, it's burned, it's done. The court is no more, at least the way we remember the court or we imagine the court to be. But yet we are ready to rebuild. It will look the same. It will be the same architecture, the same style, just like the renovations they did on Notre Dame. But it will still be new and it will bring forth a new beginning. We must bring back the court's dignity. We need young talent and skill. I got the number 3, believe it or not, 3 new justices that are coming. I'm assuming 2 would replace Thomas and Kavanaugh, because I got through the readings that both of them would be resigning or would be pushed out in some way. And then I got 1 more, and I was trying to think, who would it be? I was thinking, is it that Alito guy? Because he was super conservative and maybe he was feeling the heat. And then I was thinking, oh, maybe it's Sonia Sotomayor, because there's a rumor that she's having some health difficulties, that wasn't feeling right. And that's when I saw Roberts. It could be a surprise. I mean, it could be one of the 2 that I just said, but for some reason, I just got a pull to Roberts. So there might be a surprising change with him. But I do feel over the next couple years, 3 different justices would be changing up. I wrote, people come together. They cooperate. They try to transcend differences. Forgiveness, reconciliation. We agree, I heard. The court transforms. Decay transforms into nourishing soil for new growth. So whatever's happening with these new justices, I don't get anything too controversial. I feel like everyone's agreeing on the new justices that are going on the court. So there is some sort of balance here, a sense that we are all rebuilding the court and we're finding some sort of middle ground. So there's way more cooperation than there has been in the past. Let's get down to bare bones, I hear. The Constitution. So that's going to be a huge criteria in the choosing of the new justices. People who are experts on constitutional law, who can go through that Constitution like nobody's business and get down to the real essence of what that Constitution says and how it applies to the modern age. I feel like it's going to take a while for the public to actually accept or trust the new court. I heard people are suspicious. We do not trust you. There's a violation of public trust. There are secrets. And then I got women just collectively, and they were all saying, make it right. Make it right. And then I heard, it will take time to win them back. So I do get a rebuilding of the Supreme Court. I get that the people who are corrupt are going to be exposed. The pressure will be put on them in order to leave. Some will just leave by their own accord and get at least one. I think it may be Roberts, but we'll see. And then there's going to be new blood into the courts. And I feel at that point, it's going to take some time. And by time, I mean years before the generations that are left will trust the courts after what we've been through. And that is my reading on the Supreme Court. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, share with all your friends, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.